Hi guys, welcome to Wrestling Retrospective, and in today's video I'm doing my predictions for AEW All In Texas 2025. So starting off with the Women's World Championship match, we have Toni Storm defending against the TBS champion, Mercedes Moné. And for me, I feel like Toni Storm's reign over the women's division is unfortunately coming to an end. I feel like she's had a great run as Women's World Champion. And yeah, I'm very curious to see what she does after this. But 9 or 8 belts Moné, I feel is inevitable. I feel like she will win this one and become the new Women's World Champion. And I expect this to be one of, if not the best match of the weekend, especially of this show. It's a match I'm very much looking forward to. I've been really getting more invested in Mercedes Moné more recently. When she first debuted, she annoyed the hell out of me and I hated her a lot. But nowadays, I'm kind of coming around to her a little bit. She's been having a lot better matches, been wrestling very consistently on AEW television. Well, to be fair, both of them have been. And yeah, I feel like this is going to be a fantastic match, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing not just this match, but these two have their first match ever against each other. So yeah, I feel like they can't really go wrong. But then I said the same thing about Britt Baker and Mercedes Moné, and that went to shit. So but I'm hoping that these two are very good at the minute, and arguably two of the best women in the world right now. So yeah, it's a match I'm very much looking forward to. But for me, I think Mercedes Moné does walk out as Women's World Champion. It feels like her winning the World Championship is an inevitable thing. And yeah, I said I'm looking forward to seeing what Toni does afterwards, see if she goes into singles feuds with other people. And yeah, I said I look forward to seeing what Mercedes does as the World Champion and seeing how she can elevate the women's division even more than it is at the minute. And that we have the Young Bucks defending the titles of EVPs against Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay. And if Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland lose, they cannot challenge for the World Championship for a whole year, which is a very interesting detail to put into this match. So, who do I think is going to win? I think the Young Bucks are going to cheat. Well, not just cheat. I think they're massively going to cheat to get the win in this one. I feel like the Young Bucks are going to win, and Swerve and Ospreay are not going to be able to compete for the World Championship for a year. Why do I think that? Well, because I'm convinced that I'll try again. I feel like Will Ospreay is going to win his first World Championship in London at All In. Now, next year, All In is in London again, but it's in August. So, I think, yes, Ospreay can't challenge for the championship for a year, but that's from July to July. And then they can build him becoming number one contender for the World Championship in August, and he wins the title next year at All In. That's my theory that they're going to go for. As for Swerve, not sure. Maybe they do a triple threat match with whoever's the world champion by that point. Hopefully it won't be Moxley. I can't see it being Moxley. So it'll be whoever the world champion is versus Swerve versus Ospreay at All In next year, which if I go, I would absolutely love to see. Also, the Bucks get to keep the thing as EVPs, which I can't see them getting rid of anytime soon. I feel like their whole gimmick works around them being EVPs. If they kind of get rid of that, I'm not sure how well it would actually work. So, as much as I cannot stand the Bucks, them not being EVPs sounds worse than them actually being EVPs. Like, it just, everything adds up with them being EVPs. So, yeah, for me, I'm going to go with the Young Bucks to get the win here, which obviously, as I've said, means that Ospreay and Swerve cannot challenge for the World Championship for a year, which I feel like would be actually a very interesting story. Following that, we have the World Tag Team Championship match with the Hurt Syndicate defending against Jet Speed, so Kevin Knight and Speedball Mike Bailey, and the Patriarchy, with the team being Christian Cage and Nick Wayne. And for me, I feel the Hurt Syndicate are going to retain here. I can't see either of the challengers becoming World Tag Team Champions. I feel like the Hurt Syndicate are probably going to be a very long-standing tag team as champions. But I feel like the biggest story coming out of this match is going to be the relationship between Christian Cage and Nick Wayne. I feel like Christian might even inadvertently cost them the match, which will then piss off Nick Wayne, and then we maybe go more towards the turn. Because I feel like if we're going to get a turn here, it's going to be Nick Wayne on Christian Cage, and then maybe Christian Cage turns babyface. We see the return of everybody's favourite man, Cope. or Adam Copeland. I'm not calling him Cope, it's just a stupid ass name. And then we end up getting Cope and Cage versus FTR at some point in the future. I assume that's the match we're going to get to All In, but that clearly isn't the case. But yeah, so as for Jet Speed, the way I look at Jet Speed is just they're two singles guys coming together as a tag team. At least with the Hurt Syndicate and the Patriarchy, they are actually teams. But yeah, I can't see, when the match was announced, I couldn't see the Hurt Syndicate losing. So yeah, I'm going to go with them to get the win. Following that, we have the TNT Championship match with champion Adam Cole defending against Kyle Fletcher. And again, we are in a situation where we look at the TNT champion and it's a case of they haven't really done much with the title and they barely defend it, and it needs somebody who's actually going to defend the title often, somebody who's going to make the championship worth having, because the championship, in my opinion, has been left pretty much, if you think about the meme of the there's like a parent with a child, they're holding a child, that is the unified championship, the international and continental championship. You see the kid that's drowning, that's the AEW World Championship, and the championship and the skeleton that's at the bottom of the ocean is the TNT Championship, because that thing has been completely forgotten, and no one who's holding it, who I think is going to make the title worth something again, isn't doing it. So when Daniel Garcia had it, I thought he was going to improve the championship, and he didn't. I then thought Adam Cole was going to be a good champion to have to reignite the prestige of the TNT Championship. He's not done that either. So Kyle Fletcher is someone who I think is probably one of the biggest people to be a future world champion in AEW. I feel like they could really base the company around Kyle Fletcher in the future at some point. And I feel like that ascent, is that a word? The climb to the top of AEW starts here with Kyle Fletcher, with him beating Adam Cole and winning the TNT Championship. Because if anyone can make that championship worth anything, and it has to be somebody, it could be Kyle Fletcher. Now, personally, it could be anyone in the Don Callis family as far as Takeshita, Fletcher, or Josh Alexander goes. So I'm hoping that one of those guys will win the TNT title from Adam Cole and will make it worth something. And if I had to take a pick, it would be Takeshita, I'm not going to lie. But Kyle Fletcher is a very good option to have. So I'm going to go with Kyle Fletcher become the new TNT champion this Saturday and hope that he can make that title worth something again. Following that, we have the two Casino Gauntlet matches, one for the men and one for the women. I'm going to do this as kind of one part because it's hard to go through who I think is going to win through everybody, because we only know who a few of the men are, and we only know right now who number one is for the women's and who could be number two for the women. So we don't really know the full field right now, and I like the fact that we don't know the full field. But the men's Casino Gauntlet, I am backing MJF for this one. It makes the most sense. I know he's probably like the biggest favourite to win this one and all that kind of stuff, but yeah, no, for me, it makes sense. So like, even like, no matter who wins the World Championship match, whether it's Hangman or whether it's Moxley, they both have history with MJF. They both could have a very good feud with MJF. And also the case that MJF carrying around a contract that he could have a World Championship match whenever he wants suits MJF down to a T. Like, he is the kind of Edge having the Money in the Bank contract type of guy you want as a contract holder. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense to put that contract on MJF. I know it's a very safe pick, but yeah, it makes the most sense that MJF holds on to that thing as long as he can until the most opportune moment to cash in, and then he'll probably win the championship. As for the women, I'd love for Chris Statlander to get the win. I'd love for Megan Bayne to get the win. I feel like both of them would be two very good things, but I have a feeling those two are both going to be starting the match, and I can't see, especially with MJF starting his match, that number one and number two from both matches get wins here. So actually, I'm going to go with Willow Nightingale to win the women's Casino Gauntlet match. We also then set up quite nicely for a rematch between Mercedes Moné and Willow Nightingale down the road for the Women's World Championship. A rematch, obviously, from last year's Double or Nothing, but then competing over the TBS Championship. So I feel like Willow Nightingale also would probably give Mercedes Moné a time and place to face her for the Women's World Championship, whereas obviously MJF would just cash in whenever. So yeah, you're going to get the best of both worlds as far as the Casino Gauntlet match cash-in goes. So yeah, those are my picks. So for the men, I have MJF, and for the women, I have Willow Nightingale. After that, we have the unification winner-take-all champion versus champion match where Continental Champion Kazuchika Okada takes on International Champion Kenny Omega for the Unified Championship, which, God, I hate the name of that title. Why not just put the titles together and call it the Intercontinental Championship or the Continental Championship? But no, they decided to call it a completely different name. They called it the Unified Championship, which means nothing. Yeah, not a big fan of this at all. Also, the match itself, right. Anyone who thinks that this match is going to be anything like the matches from New Japan is an idiot. And I've said this multiple times, and I'm just, Kenny Omega is not the man he used to be. After the dermatitis, I can never say that bloody word. After his illness, he has not been the same wrestler. His matches haven't been as good. He isn't the best bout machine anymore, in my opinion. Okada, again, his matches in AEW haven't been great either compared to the stuff in New Japan. So yeah, this match isn't going to be everything that people want it to be as far as like better than the 7 million 5-star match that you had originally in New Japan. Because it's not going to be that. It's probably going to be mediocre compared to that, which is obviously a very good match still. Do I think it's going to be match of the night? No, I don't really think. No, I don't think it is. But is it going to be very good? Of course it's going to be very good. It is Okada and Omega. I just think that people are going to be overhyping this match way too much. As far as the semantics of the match, so I was under the impression that the Continental Championship and the International Championship were going to be retired after this. Since then, yesterday I think it was, not yesterday, it was yesterday at the time of recording. I'm recording this on Wednesday. Tony Khan has come out and said that the winner of this match could hold all 3 championships coming out of this one, and that we're still going to have a Continental Classic at the end of the year. That's great. I love the Continental Classic. Personally, I would retire the Unified Championship because this is a shit name for a belt, carry on the International Championship, and keep the Continental Championship vacant until December time, and then have it be reinstated with whoever wins the Continental Classic. That makes the most sense. I know the whole point was like we get less belts, but somehow we're now in a situation where we could have more belts. So that doesn't make any sense. But it seems like we're going to get an Eddie Kingston situation where someone is walking around with 3 belts, as well as Mercedes Moné walking around with 8 belts. So, that's pretty fun. But yeah, no, really doesn't make any sense. I assume there'd just be 1 belt, and now there could be 3. So that's cool. As far as the winner goes, the one thing I've completely avoided to say in this so far, the winner, I think, is going to be Kenny. Is it? No, I'm going to go with Okada to get the win here. I feel like Omega is too much of a safe choice that I feel like they're going to have Okada win this one, and then they'll probably have a rematch down the road, and that'll be Omega getting his win back. But yeah, it's a weird one. It is very tough to decide who's going to get the win here. Obviously, Omega's the safe choice because he's like Mr. AEW, but Okada, I feel like, is the better wrestler of the two right now. So yeah, I feel like everyone is expecting Omega to win, so I'm going to go with Okada, hoping that maybe going against the grain would be what they go for, and they kind of go for a bit of a shock win. But yeah, the whole semantics about it makes absolutely zero sense in my opinion. But I think it's going to be a decent match. Just do not have, if you watch, like, if any fans of New Japan are watching this, do not have the state of mind that this is going to be like the New Japan matches, because it really, really isn't. And finally, in the main event, in the Texas Death Match, that I love the fact they've made this a Texas Death Match, Jon Moxley defends the AEW World Championship against Hangman Adam Page. Now, is this probably one of the biggest matches of the year? For AEW, absolutely. This is massive. But who's going to win? Right. It's more a case of how are they going to win? Because it's not going to be a singles match, and I can't imagine it's going to be a singles match for like the last 20 minutes of the match. Because we know the Death Rider is going to get involved, we know all the babyfaces are going to get involved, we know a ton of people are going to get involved. So I was thinking about this the other night, and this is essentially going to be what Roman and Cody was at WrestleMania last year. Probably not to the quality level that it was done at WrestleMania, but it's going to have that same kind of feel to it. Because if you think about it, everyone who is anyone is going to try and get involved here, right? So, you look at kind of, I don't know, it's kind of, you look at the babyface side, you've got Hangman, but then you've got people who could get involved. So you've got Samoa Joe, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Shibata as the Ops. You got possibly Hook, though we don't really know where he stands. He showed up at Double or Nothing and we haven't seen him since. But we also have Kenny Omega getting involved. We could have Swerve get involved. We could have Ospreay get involved. We could have Darby Allin get involved. We could have Orange Cassidy get involved if those two return. I mean, I imagine Darby Allin's pretty much would be a set to get involved. Not quite sure about Orange Cassidy. Might be injured. Still, I don't know. I didn't hear anything, but I've been told by a very reliable source that he's hurt. On the heel side, there's obviously Jon Moxley. There's the rest of the Death Riders. So we have Claudio and Wheeler Yuta, Marina Shafir. We have Willow Nightingale on the side of the babyfaces. We also have the case of what is Chris Statlander going to do about the Death Riders, because it seems like she may associate herself with them or maybe not. We also have the case of Gabe Kidd could get involved. We could see the Young Bucks get involved. So yeah, it feels like this is going to be a match with a whole load of interference, which, I mean, to be fair, I kind of like about that. I kind of hope they go down the route of just having everyone get involved, and it's like an even more anarchy-based Anarchy in the Arena match. And then eventually it'll come down to Moxley and Hangman. Those two will beat the piss out of each other. I'm hoping they kind of top the Texas Death Match they had last year. No, not last year, year before at Revolution, which is one of my favourite matches of all time. But when the dust settles, it'll come down to Hangman and Moxley. And I genuinely think when you go up on big events, so this is the biggest event in AEW's calendar, and on the biggest show of the year, you have the biggest babyface get the win for the year to essentially restart again. So I am going to go with Hangman Page to defeat Jon Moxley, take the title out of the briefcase, maybe. I assume it's probably in there. Though we've had zero proof that the title is actually in the briefcase. We could get a brand new title. But yes, Hangman is going to beat Jon Moxley and become the new AEW World Champion, I think. Would it shock me if Jon Moxley won this match? Absolutely not. And I think it would be hilarious if Jon Moxley won this match, because the amount of defeated faces in the crowd and online we would see with Jon Moxley continuing this storyline, I think would be hilarious. But yeah, I think Hangman is going to get the win here, and he will have saved AEW. So those are my predictions for AEW All In Texas 2025. Do put down in the comments below what your predictions are. Is Hangman going to save AEW? Is there going to be a whole lot of people getting involved? Is this going to be one of the biggest matches of the year for AEW? Do sound off in the comments below and what you're looking forward to the most, as well as, obviously the obvious ones, Mercedes and Tony, Moxley, Hangman, Omega and Okada. Do you think that the Young Bucks are going to lose the titles of EVPs? We'll talk about it down below in the comments. Do like the video if you enjoyed it. And yeah, do subscribe. A lot of coverage of all of this weekend's wrestling events are going down. There's going to be reviews for, of course, All In Texas, for Great American Bash, and for Evolution. As well as tomorrow, there is a review of Evolution 2018, so do look around for that. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Possibly, if you subscribe.